21st Century Literacies. Good day, everyone. We are going to tackle about globalization and multicultural literacy. Before we discuss our topic, let us all learn our objectives. Discuss concepts of globalization and multicultural literacy. Display skill with the use of mother tongue, Filipino, and English to convey ideas, and value the importance of dimension in multiculturalism.
What is global literacy? Global literacy aims to address issues of globalization, racism, diversity, and social justice. Global literacy it requires awareness and social actions consistent with a broad understanding of humanity, the planet, and the impact of human decision. It involves learning about world regions through arts and culture, language, economics, geography, mathematics, and science. It also aims to empower students with knowledge and take action to make a positive impact in the world and their local community. We can say that globalization or global literacy is about being aware of even the smallest information about the events that take place across the globe. That also includes knowing more about every aspect that we commonly encounter in our lives, like information about politics, law, economy, social aspects, and so on. That is for the reason that if our participation is needed into something that has a great impact on us or needed our presence, we will be able to contribute something because we are not ignorant as to what is currently happening and we know what we should do. An example for that is promoting sustainable patterns of living, consumption, and production, because we know that wasting too much resources either by consuming it or using it in a continuous excessive mass production may lead into depletion of our natural resources, which will later on affect human beings in the form of famine. According to the Ontario Ministry of Education 2015, a global citizen should display most or all of the following characteristics: acquire essential global knowledge and understanding, see the world from multiple perspectives, communicate across cultures and boundaries, and take responsibility for their own learning and for the planet. So global literacy aims to give students the knowledge that they need for them to be able to take actions and make decisions that has a positive impact in the world or that may help in solving societal problems, stop racial discrimination, etc. It is important to note that not because it is called global literacy, it is only focused globally. No, because it is also includes our country or the local community we are living in. As students, we are obliged to do something for the good of all. Even the smallest things that we can do to help in our community is valued, and everything actions we take is important. Why is that? Why do we need to learn about the aforementioned things? It is important to know about them because, like what I previously said, it can help us make meaningful decisions in our lives. Like for example, studying the art of the other countries, let's say Africa. Studying their art will give us a glimpse on who those people are living in that country and why they are different from us, since art tends to mirror its artist's culture and beliefs. So that if you encounter someone from that country, like for example someone transfers in your school or in the future, you'll need to teach the new African students in your class. You'll know how to properly address them with respect because you are aware of who they are beyond what their social distinction suggests.
So let's now move on to multicultural literacy. What is multicultural literacy? It is the knowledge and skills necessary to ensure that any communication with any culture is clear, productive, and respectful, such that differences are celebrated and neither culture is demeaned nor treated as inferior. Multicultural literacy consists of perspectives, attitudes, and beliefs about other culture that affects the manner in which we communicate and the motives behind our communication. Having enough knowledge and skills to understand different cultures apart from ours can help us in communicating with people from different culture without bias and prejudice. In multicultural literacy, every difference is celebrated instead of being scorned, and no culture is treated as inferiors. According to Booth, multicultural literacy brings attention to diversity, equity, and social justice to foster cultural awareness by addressing difficult issues like discrimination and oppression towards other ethnicities. Multicultural literacy has the power to address, if not erase, social injustices towards other ethnicities, since it opens our eyes that differences shouldn't be reason for someone to be treated wrong. Being multiculturally literate, we are aware of our limits and we know what we should do so that people from different cultures won't feel left out and that they would feel that they are accepted by everybody else. So here are some examples, skills, and knowledge to be a multiculturally literate individual. The very first is to be selfless or thinking about other people's sake more than yours. In being selfless, you need to be not to be biased, which means that doing an act of selflessness does not only apply towards your friends, but also to everyone around you. Second is to know that good and useful things can and do come from those who are different from us. There are no superior culture, beliefs, or groups. Everyone is capable of doing good things, for we all have our good and bad sides inside us, no matter who we are, and that makes us human. The third one is to be willingly able to compromise, which means that wherever you go, you should be ready to work or interact with different kinds of people and establish bonds with them. And lastly, accept that there are limits. We all have limitations in interacting with people from different cultures. We should know that we all have different beliefs and we should respect that. We should avoid enforcing our beliefs in other people who also have their own beliefs, because it will only create misunderstanding and an unpleasant consequence. Why is multicultural literacy important? According to Booth, education for multicultural literacy should help students to develop the 21st century skills and attitudes that are needed to become active citizens who will work towards achieving social justice within our communities. By making small changes within the classrooms, it can create big changes globally. There's no better way to bring change than to teach the young ones to become its bridge, like what our national hero believed, that the youth are the hope of our country. The youth still have a lot of time to learn something and to do something, unlike the grown-ups. So while they are still young, we should teach them different knowledge and skills that will help them in contributing for the greater good, like multicultural literacy. Multicultural literacy is important to be taught to students, for it serves as a powerful tool in enabling students to gain a better understanding of both their culture and the culture of others. Through this deeper knowledge, relationships can be strengthened, bridging the gap between students from diverse cultural backgrounds.
What is multiculturalism? Multiculturalism refers to the existence of different and uneven power relations among populations in terms of racial, ethnic, religious, geographical distinctions, and other cultural markers. Multiculturalism is both a response to the fact of cultural pluralism in modern democracies and a way of compensating cultural groups for past exclusion, discrimination, and oppression. And also, multiculturalism seeks the inclusion of the views and contribution of diverse members of society, while maintaining respect for their differences and withholding the demand of their assimilations into dominant culture. A multicultural state then might be one in which different forms of recognition are granted to cultural groups to secure the valuable goods culture's membership provides equally and avoid unfairly privileging dominant groups. On the other hand, it can be agreed that precisely because of the deep social and cultural diversity, the state should remain neutral between groups and ensure the basic liberal rights are fairly and constantly applied across the cultural differences. This is the five dimension of multiculturalism in education, according to James E. Banks, 1995. First, content integration. This is a technique used to straighten a students in two or more content areas simultaneously so that they have a better understanding. It deals with teachers use example and content from variety of cultures and groups to illustrate key concepts, generalizations, and theories in the subjects, areas, or discipline. Examples. First, view from variety of cultures and perspective. For example, animals are grouped with animals. However, in Eastern culture, people may group items based on association, such as an animals being grouped with a grass because the animals requires grass to live. Next, utilize takes and resources from the another culture. Example, ask your colleagues from other cultures. If you don't get enough information from your employees, ask fellow managers who are from the other culture you are trying to learn about. Second, knowledge construction. It's a process by which learners actively build their understanding of a topic or concept through explanation, reflections, and interaction. This is the process in which teachers help students to understand, investigate, and determine the implicit culture assumption, frames of reference, but perspective of the discipline they are teaching. Examples: share stories with multiple perspectives. Is a court hearing for an accident. Witnesses who take the stand in a court of law bring different perspectives to the same problem. The judge has a responsibility to assess whenever there are any truth to their words. Perspective can completely alter your outlook. You may overlook the truth if you are too adamant. That's why it is important to understand different perspectives. Next, critical thinking activities. Attribute linking building community by talking perspective. Students pair up according to similar physical attributes determined by the facilitator. These include hair color, eye color, hand size, and weight. For each attribute, students discuss times when they were discriminated against because of it. Then, they take on the roles as victim, perpetrator, or bystander and discussion.
Equity pedagogy, the process in which teachers use different teaching styles to meet the diverse needs of their students. Example, journaling, cooperative groups. See here in equity pedagogy, equity is when every student has what they need to succeed. It is teaching practices focus on when we teach, what we teach, and how we teach. Every student is different, and as educator should use different learning styles with each students to ensure their achievement, their success. Prejudice reduction. It describes lesson and activities used by teachers to help students to develop positive attitude towards different racial, ethnic, and cultural groups. Example, increasing positive attitude, race, and ethnicity. Cultivate awareness. So here in prejudice reduction, it refers to a decrease in most often negative attitudes or evaluations that individual hold in relation to other people, aimed at teaching students to develop a positive view of different ethnic and cultural groups. Last dimension is empowering school culture and structure. Extends into the school culture as a whole, foster education, equality, and liberation for students of all races, genders, ethnicities, language, social classes, sexual orientation. Example, become familiar, believe that every student can learn. This is a term that describes how a school culture must change in order to accommodate students from different cultures and make them all feel a sense of equality.
Intercultural communication is the verbal and nonverbal interaction between people from different cultural backgrounds. It is also a symbolic, interpretive, transactional, contextual process in which people from different cultures create shared meanings. Simply put, intercultural communication is about understanding what happens when people communicate with one another when they come from different cultures. It is about an awareness of many different factors such as on how messages are delivered. So example, listening and speaking. Differences in areas such body language. Example of body language are eye contact, touch, gestures, and many others. And nonverbal communication, example, silence, and social cues. An easy way to think about intercultural communication is that it tries to teach us about ourselves as individuals and as a person by using the concept of culture. And as we all know that culture refers to the values, norms, and beliefs shared by a group of people in a society to analyze how we create meaning and express that with other cultures. So, there are three basic components of intercultural communication: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Knowledge, this gives you the basic understanding of communication within a culture. Being knowledgeable enough in communicating is perhaps the most important of all life skills. It is what enables us to pass information to other people and to understand what is said to us. So, knowledge is very important in communication for it allows our mind to respond effectively. So, second is skills. Skills are the ability to put knowledge to use. Successful communication can deepen relations in personal life or professional life. In personal life, they can help us understand better people and situations that happen on a daily basis. Developing communication skills can help us avoid conflicts, compromise, and help in better decision making. So the third one is attitudes. Means both your own cultural sensitivity and an empathy for cultural beliefs, opinions, and customs. Your attitude is very important in communicating, for it is very powerful way to communicate and it is a mirror into your thoughts, feeling, and soul. Remember this important communication skill. Positive attitudes will always invite positive results, while negative attitudes will always invite negative results. Those are the three basic components of intercultural communication.
Distinct cultures arise from nations, races, religions, managers, workers, linguistics, philosophical belief, commerce, offices, genders, etc. For example, a Christian converses with a Muslim. When a Christian converses with a Muslim, distinct cultures can arise as both individuals share different beliefs, values, and traditions. Christianity and Islam both have unique religious practices and customs that contribute to their respective cultures. For example, Christianity emphasizes the importance of forgiveness, charity, and the love for one's neighbor. This belief is reflected in Christian cultures that prioritize acts of kindness and generosity towards others. Christians also have specific traditions and holidays, such as Christmas and Easter, that contribute to their cultural identity. When these two cultures come together through conversation, there is an opportunity for mutual understanding and appreciation of each other's beliefs and customs. However, it is also possible for cultural misunderstandings and conflicts to arise. It is important to approach interfaith dialogue with an open mind and a willingness to learn and respect other cultures.
The next example is an American and African sharing their views would like result in the development of a distinct culture that blends elements of both American and African cultures. The American may bring with them a sense of individualism, a focus on consumerism and material possessions, and a desire for instant gratification. Meanwhile, the African may bring with them a sense of community, a focus on collectivism, and a more spiritual approach to life. Together, they may develop a culture that values family and community while also embracing technology and innovation. This culture may also place a high value on education and personal growth while prioritizing traditions and customs that are important to both American and African societies. And the last one is a Chinese politician's discussion with an American leader. So now let us proceed to the different barriers of intercultural communication. First is conflicting values. Conflicting values, especially in school or classroom, can arise when students hold different beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors that clash with one another. This can lead to arguments, misunderstandings, and even bullying. It is important for teachers to be aware of these conflicts and address them in a respectful manner. One way to address conflicting values is to create a safe and inclusive classroom environment where everyone feels heard, respected, and valued. This can be done by establishing clear rules for respectful communication, encouraging open dialogue, and promoting diversity and tolerance. In addressing conflicting values in the classroom requires a proactive, sensitive, and collaborative approach which can help to create a healthy and positive learning environment for all students. The next is racism and discrimination, based on different cultures, can manifest itself in a classroom in various ways. Students may use derogatory language or slurs to refer to individuals from different cultural backgrounds, or they may refuse to interact with them during group projects or class discussions. Teachers may also display implicit biases that affect their interactions with students or their grading decisions. It is very important to have open and honest communication with students about the harms of discrimination and racism, providing them with the tools and knowledge to identify and address it when it does occur. By recognizing and addressing these issues, educators can help create a safer and more welcoming learning environment for all students. The next is geographical distance. It can act as a significant barrier in intercultural communication. When people are located in different parts of the world, They often have diverse cultural backgrounds, values, and communication styles. The distance between them can make it challenging to establish meaningful relationships, understand each other's perspectives, and communicate effectively. And the last one is ethnocentrism. It is the belief that your own cultural values, beliefs, and practices are superior to those of the other cultures. This attitude can act as a significant barrier in communication between people from different backgrounds. Ethnocentrism acts as the barrier to intercultural communication because it creates misunderstandings, stereotypes, language barriers, cultural distance, and resistance to change. Overcoming ethnocentrism requires an understanding and acceptance of cultural differences and a willingness to learn about and embrace diversity. Intercultural communication in education is focused on fostering awareness of and respect for cultural differences and promoting effective communication across cultures. It involves teaching individuals how to communicate effectively with people from different cultural backgrounds, understand diverse values and beliefs, and navigate various cultural contexts in both personal and professional settings. There are some key aspects of education in intercultural communication. First is developing cultural competence. This involves gaining knowledge about different cultures, understanding how cultural differences impact communication, and developing skills to effectively navigate diverse cultural settings. Second, enhancing interpersonal and intergroup communication skills. Individuals learn how to communicate effectively with people from different cultural backgrounds, including how to listen actively, ask questions, and avoid misunderstandings. Third, building awareness of cultural biases and stereotypes. Identifying and challenging biases and stereotypes helps individuals to avoid harmful cultural misunderstandings and create more inclusive and respectful communication environments. The next one is preparing for diversity in the workplace. Educating individuals about diverse cultural backgrounds and practices helps to create an inclusive and respectful work environment, as well as provide employees with the necessary tools to work collaboratively and effectively with colleagues or different cultural backgrounds. Overall, education in intercultural communication is essential for promoting cultural competence, developing effective communication skills, and creating inclusive and respectful environments to foster positive relationships and successful outcomes in diverse settings.
That's all for our report, and I hope you have learned something. If you have some clarification, please contact the reporters. And that's all. Thank you very much for listening.